So here's something a bit different for you this week. I'm not talking to you on camera, and that's because of failed footage. So instead, I'm going to talk to you through the voiceover only. I'm also doing the wash process a little bit differently. This is going to be a sort of average Joe maintenance wash. Rather than giving it a full pre-wash, I'm going down the route of just giving it a really good pre-rinse. The car isn't that dirty, so it doesn't need massive amounts of work. So there will be no pre-wash products, there will be no snow foam. Products wise, I am using Dodo Juice today, as you'll have known by the description. I'm also using that wide nozzle there, that's from Carscope UK. So here's the shampoo, 40 milliliters of Born to Be Mild shampoo in my bucket, agitated with the pressure washer, and then pulling the nozzle out a little bit to blast in some air and generate some foam. 40 ml for that big bucket is a really good dilution ratio right there. And you can see it's lovely and sudsy and frothy and foamy, and it's just a genuine joy to use. It's got a lovely scent to it, and it's not overly slick. It is slick, but it's not too slick. It's not like I'm wiping the car over with baby oil. Really, really nice. That wash pad is from Detailed Online. That is their Noodle Chenille wash pad. And Born to Be Mild doesn't contain any kind of gloss enhancers, shine enhancers, any kind of protection, water repellency, or anything like that. It is a neutral, a pH neutral shampoo that doesn't leave anything behind. It's a lovely pure shampoo. Now this car does have some protection on it from previous tests on the bonnet there, and we're going to find out from this wash if it has rejuvenated any of that protection at all. And you can see it's still very sudsy even though I've washed half the car already, and those suds remained all the way through the wash. You can see here it also rinses away nice and freely. And also, as that's rinsing away, you can see that protection on the bonnet is coming back. So it's got some good cleaners in there too. Now those protectants will be coming off later in the video to try a couple of waxes. So time to dry the car. If you haven't seen this before, I am wetting my drying towel. Not making it soaking, but I am dampening it. That is to make sure that the towel is primed and ready to collect the water. A slightly dampened drying towel will pick up water more efficiently and faster than a dry drying towel. This one is a twisted loop double-sided microfiber drying towel from the Detailing Detectives. This is my go-to drying towel. Absolutely fantastic. Here's the before and after. You can see quite a difference there. Now this is the bonnet, which has been taped off into 3 sections, just so you can see what I'm going to be doing with it, because I'm going to be polishing it up. You can see those lines in there, those are swirl marks. They come from improper washing practices. Whether it's the fact that you've been using a sponge on a dirty car, or taking your car to one of those automated car washes with these spinning brushes of death. Now, these are normal. These will happen from time to time. I don't know what happened to that top section there. A very strange section there. Looks odd. So what I want to do is try and remove some of that damage and also polish this up. Remove that old protection that was on there before and prime these parts of the panels for protection. So the products I'm using are Critical Finish Ultra Fine Prep Polish on the left and Lime Prime Fine Cut Prep Polish on the right. Because Lime Prime is not ultra fine, it must be a little bit more aggressive than Critical Finish. Now Critical Finish does not contain any kind of gloss enhancers, it doesn't leave anything behind. It is just a fine polish, an ultra fine polish. Lime Prime does contain some extras, some polishing oils for filling and adding a little bit of shine and gloss there. Now I've sped this footage up after spreading the polish across the panel. I am working it with my 15mm dual action polisher, with a very soft black finishing pad. I'm only giving the car 2 or 3 passes just to make sure that it just polishes it up and adds a bit of gloss to that section. Now the pad was cleaned in between, and on the right hand side this will be lime prime, spreading the product first before working it. And you can smell the limes in this one, it's actually really nice. So once you've spread it, set your working speed, get it into a position that you're happy with, and work it. Again, this is slightly more aggressive lime prime than critical finish, but I'm not working it hard, I'm using a finishing pad here. The buff off was straightforward and simple. We lost a bit of the sun, so we can't really see how much swirls have been removed, but you can see a line running down the bonnet there from where the tape was, and that shows that the left side is a little bit glossier, deeper and sharper in reflection, and the same with the right hand section with lime prime, so they both do a good job of improving the look of the paint. Here are the waxes that I'm using. Shinecraft is the synthetic wax for the left, and Orange Crush is a more natural wax for the right. That central section that hadn't been polished before, I polished that off camera with lime prime, just so you're aware. This is an SGCB wax applicator pad that I'm using with Shinecraft, and the first thing you'll notice here is that I'm having quite a job of getting the wax out of the pot and onto the pad. It was really hard, it didn't want to come out. I rubbed my finger on it to see if the heat would help, and it became a little more liquid, but still was quite tough to get on the pad. And I don't know if it's because it's been sitting in my garage for a while with a variety of different temperatures, but I was having a really hard time with this wax. I kept having to go back to the pot to add some more wax because it was so sticky. It was a very difficult wax to use. I have to give you my honest opinions and give you my honest situations of what I went through when I was using these products. And the buff off was similar. It was sticky and difficult to get off cleanly and easily, but it did eventually come off. It did look nice. So here's Orange Crush. Gave that a feel with my finger, and I could feel the difference there. It was a much softer wax. And you can see much more of it goes onto the applicator there. You can see the orange on that pad. A swipe and then working across. And I did have to go back to the pot once just to get a little bit more of the wax. This is still relatively hard, this wax, but it was easier to apply than the Shinecraft. There's a similar story with the buff off. That was also easier and more straightforward and cleaner. And here's the water behavior. One of my favorite parts of testing products is to see how the water behavior goes. You can see Shinecraft there is slightly more of a sheeter, and the Orange Crush is a little bit more of a beader. You can still make them sheet, but I do find that Shinecraft, it just does that sheeting a little bit more. That is relatively normal for synthetic products. Let's have a look at the beads, because everybody likes a bead shot. So there's Shinecraft on the left, lovely uniform beads. Really nice hydrophobics. Over on the right, there's Orange Crush. Also really nice beads. The only time they get out of shape is when they get kind of large over on the side there. But otherwise, when they're smaller, really lovely and round and plump. So if beads are your thing, they both work well. This is Tarmelade. This is a product that I specifically asked for when they said they were going to send me some products. It is a sort of gel-like, wax-like tar remover. Something which you leave on your tar, and I found these couple of tar spots on the wing, along with other parts. Leave it on there for about 10 to 15 minutes. So 10 minutes later, I came back to find out if this would help to remove these spots. And as you can see, it didn't actually work out as well as I had hoped. Tarmelade is an old product that's been out for a long time, but it just wasn't doing what I wanted, and that chunk ended up having to be picked off. Then I went back with the towel, which still had some Tarmelade on it, and you can see there eventually it starts to come off. It's not as effective as modern sprayable tar removers. The one nice thing I will say about this though is that you don't have to worry about it drying out on you. Leave it for 10 minutes, come back to it, and it's still the way it was when you applied it. So it does give you a bit more time to get around the car. This is mint condition. This is their detailing spray. Now, if you go heavy-handed with it, with a few sprays on your panels and a few sprays on your towel, you will most likely have to buff it off afterwards. It's not a difficult product to use. But if you go light with just a couple of sprays on the panel and continue to buff it, it will actually evaporate off all by itself and you won't need to give it another buff. Just keep working it over. But it is a really nice product to use. Flip the towel and you get some lovely shine and gloss and slickness in there. On this back section, just a couple of sprays on the panel, and I didn't really need to buff it at all because it all just came up looking good, but I like to buff. There's something about it. Also, it's safe to use on your plastics and your rubbers. As you can see, I'm going around the trims here of the windows, and I even used it on the glass and it came up fine. No streaks, no smears. Everything looked really nice. And here's Dark Matter. This is their trim and tire dressing. If you like pink products, you're gonna love this stuff. It is so pink. It's not just a pink bottle, it really is pink product. I'm using a piece of packing foam here to dress the plastics and rubber on the side here. Actually though, that on the door pillar there on the door, it's actually not plastic, it's tape. I mean, it's kind of plastic because it's plasticky tape, but that's what it is. Going around the window there though, that is definitely plastic. This is a very easy to use product, easy to spread, goes a long way. It's quite nice to use actually, and it looks really good. And then moving on to using it on the tires, you can see some of it pools up in the tires there, but once you wipe it over, the pink disappears, and it's not a super glossy product, it's not a super deep product. It's fairly neutral, it's more of a satin finish, but you could layer it for more depth if you wanted. And this is what the car looks like afterwards. Lovely shine from the detailing spray. Really is lovely and glossy. The tires are relatively neutral the way I like them, but like I said, if you want to layer that up, it will improve that just a bit more for you. The rear wiper arm also got a going over with Dark Matter. That's lovely and dark and shiny. And the window trims as well. The tires over here. The car is just looking absolutely fantastic. Really impressed with that detailing spray. And the waxes, although they weren't the easiest to use, got some lovely shine and gloss on the front there. Those front bumper plastics have also been treated. So if you guys are interested in checking out Dodo Juice, I will leave information down in the description below. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.